Okay, so what are we going to talk about? First off, you guys all live in some pretty incredible vacation areas. So I'm so glad you're here. I was looking at the list, a lot of Florida, I got some Canada, I got Santa Cruz, my hometown. I mean, a lot of beach communities. So you're in the perfect place because we are going to talk about becoming a vacation rental design expert. What are we going to go over? Well, I'm going to talk about just the short term rental market, kind of some statistics, why this market needs you, how adding this service could really benefit your current business or maybe even help you start a business. I just got a great email from someone today who just said, "Hey, I'm an agent and I'm partnering with a nationwide vacation rental company to do their rentals." And I thought, awesome. So she is really excited to kind of to get into this. I'm going to show you how to get started, how to start offering this kind of service, walk you through some trade retail shopping tips or how to shop for this, how to budget, how to crush this service, make lots of money. And the easiest way we're going to end up with marketing Airbnb, your Airbnb design service. Who is this for? Well, you know you're in the right place. If you are a new stager or designer, if you're just thinking about the industry, you have a passion for design and you're just like interested in kind of how do I dip my toe into the design world? Maybe you're a veteran stager designer, you're going to learn something here. Design enthusiasts. This, though, is not a workshop on how to host an Airbnb. I always have to preface that because sometimes I'll get people, where's my hosting advice? No, it's all about design. Basically, you're in the right place when you love to see before photos like this. This is an Airbnb I shared Annika's story that turn into after photos like this. So if that's you and you just love design, go ahead in the chat, put me. I love it. That's how we all know we've got this thing we all do. And we think everybody's like us, but trust me, they're not. There's only like 10% of us who have this passion. We've been teaching ourselves the design world for a long time. And this is just another way that people can jump into it. So, who am I? My name is Audra Slinky. I'm president of the Home Staging Resource. I started that business. It was the first mixed media staging and design training company back in 2006. I am dating myself. I have been doing this for almost 20 years. I blog for the National Associated Realtors, my own. I've won a lot of recent Innovative Reviewer Awards for every one of my products. I have courses on design, color, staging. I've shared the stage with Barbara Corcoran, Vern Yip, Sabrina Soto. But the thing that I love, this is what gets me up every morning, is to help people like you who absolutely love design, have a passion for design, whether you have your current business or you're thinking about doing it, create amazing, successful businesses doing what you love, making money. So if you ever see this logo on people's website, this was my staging training, my color. I launched a color training 3 day and then an e-design training. That's a 3 day. And then I recently launched the vacation rental design expert training. It's again a 3 day training that was finalist for the RISA Innovative of the Year Award last year. So it's great. So if you're one of my people, I don't know if I have any of my people on this list. Usually these are people that are kind of new coming in, getting to know me. You know, I love a shout out. I get nervous every time I do these live events. So thank you all for being here. Enough about me. Oh, no, I got to tell you a little bit about me because some of you need to know. I actually do host, I have my own rental. So I'm not a stranger to Airbnb design. I have one on the lake. I have one in the snow in Mammoth. And it's been a blast. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of benefits. When I created that course and when I created this presentation, I also am in touch with hundreds, you can see some of them are on the line, I love it, of expert stagers, designers who actually specialize in Airbnb design. And I just interviewed them like, how did you break in? What is your process? How do you package this? And so I created kind of a complete course for this niche so that stagers and designers can quickly offer this service as part of their business, or people can actually start a business doing Airbnb design. So I have to preface this workshop because you're going to see materials that are in that course. So when you're like, where did she get that investment guide or her, Airbnb list? You're getting a glimpse of what is in my course along the way. So you can see it's a three-phase, 9-module course. All right. Great. You guys are great. Let's jump in. Okay, why Airbnb? I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know what Airbnb is. And interestingly, VRBO has been around even longer, but Airbnb really just exploded that market because it is the epitome of that sharing economy. It's just something people do. You could just Airbnb your house. Started in 2008. It's had huge growth post COVID. 14,000 hosts join Airbnb each month. So, what does that do? That creates a lot of competition in every area. And we're seeing it because anybody can be a hotel owner. Airbnb rentals themselves have grown over 1,000% since 2011. So, I think we all know it's huge. How many of you always go to Airbnbs versus hotels? I mean, some people still love their hotels, but Airbnbs, I mean, I did a Europe trip last year and it was just Airbnb with my family. Airbnbs was just so much easier. Plus, I didn't have to share a hotel room with my big college kids. Yeah. um, One thing that we need to know, though, as designers of Airbnbs, or as we're jumping into this, is that there's a millennial difference. And this kind of what has exploded the growth. This generation actually represents Airbnb more than any other, and it will account for 75% of all consumers and travelers by 2025 and beyond. So it's a very big generation. Now, I know those baby boomers and even my generation are traveling a lot, but that really speaks to me because, from a design aspect, um, it shows you that travel is deeply important to that generation. They actually have been prioritizing a lot of their travel, even over home buying, and they look at their travel as experiences. And this should sound familiar to you because a lot of us, how many of you in the chat have already designed an Airbnb? Or maybe you did your own Airbnb. I'm curious. If so, you know that creating that guest experience and is critical. So, why is design Airbnb? Yeah, good. You guys are good. Because this astronomical growth means there's been more Airbnb competition. It's getting harder for Airbnbs to stand out. Everybody kind of wants their Airbnb, their investment. It's not enough to just simply list the rental. It needs to speak to the target guests. It needs to be memorable, and it needs to stand out in a crowded space. So, for those of you who are stagers, does this sound familiar? So, we're no stranger to that. If we're a stager, I know a lot of my audience is strangers. We need that home to stand out. We need that Airbnb to stand out. And it's becoming more important than ever. Those photos and description are critical on the Airbnb platform. The host loses money. So your clients who will be investors or Airbnb hosts, they lose money obviously when it's not occupied. So this is not a luxury. Airbnb design is not a luxury. It is becoming more and more a necessity. Good design. Hosts can consequently raise their prices when the rental is dialed in. We've all seen it. It's just simple economics. Like the benefits of staging, good design is an investment in the future profits of that Airbnb. That's why we're seeing a lot of investors step in and really improve certain Airbnbs and get better nightly rates. So why can you rock this? Why is this important to you? Well, in highly competitive markets, it's like staging on steroids. There's a lot of inventory. We know there's Airbnbs everywhere. I can see a lot of you already live in a really hot area. It's easy if you are a current stager designer to add to your current design and staging services. It's just another solution when you have clients that are looking for that type of design. How many of you, if you are a designer and stager, have dealt with an emotional owner, homeowner, or home seller? Anyone? Yeah. The beauty of this type of service is it is business to business more often than not. So the emotions are kind of pulled out of it and there's more money involved. Christine's like every day. Yes, people are emotional about their own space, but this is just different. This is business. So it just speaks. Justifiable client spending to obtain that superhost designation. And similar to the seller, it's really hard for a host to be objective. I told you guys in the beginning, you guys have this design passion, this talent. The average person does not. So they really need it. And frankly, a lot of the hosts or investors are remote. So they don't necessarily can't be there to install furniture or to dial in that Airbnb. So that's kind of one reason why they really need designers locally. Here's another reason. When I looked in across the field, there's very few designers and stagers really actively tackling this growing market. Hardly any of them, I mean, I've searched high and low, have a particular page, a design service page on their website that speaks to this type of service that has some search engine optimization locally. Even rare were the ones that were actively marketing to those kind of target markets. To partners. And these partners are really easy to find and they're looking for specialists. It makes sense that if they're looking for a designer, instead of just going to a designer, they're going to find another local designer that specializes in Airbnb and design, and they like that that person understands their field and the need for experiences. It's really a win-win for everybody. I love to share Trisha's story because Trisha actually, when I talk about those partners, this was a partner I hadn't even thought of, to be honest. She teamed up with a mortgage group, a mortgage company, because a lot of times people buying are investors and they're like, so I'm turning this into an Airbnb. Do you know anyone? So the mortgage group handles all their clients' Airbnbs in Orlando. She just said that kind of changed her life. She went from a stay-at-home mom to closing 300 to 350K in revenue the past 3 years. So making nothing to that. So I just love that. And really what she does, and this is kind of what I walk people through in the training, but you can do it yourself because a lot of her clients are remote. She creates the design board, presentation, and then just does the install in a room. Why this benefits you, especially if you're a stager and designer, you can expand your services. It's a lot of repeat business. So a lot of us as just designers, we get the onesie twosies or referrals, but these are property investors, Airbnb investors, they're super hosts. Usually super hosts have more than one. Um, Airbnb property managers. I'm seeing a lot of that where you're an answer for them when they have clients that are like, how come I'm not getting rented? Why are my rates not going up? Title mortgage companies I mentioned. I've even had people tell me they get business from Airbnb cleaning companies. So it's crazy. How many of you, did I miss any of them? If you've done an Airbnb, if you worked with a client, list any partners on the chat. I'd love to know. Also, how many of you on this chat, I should wonder, are stagers? Currently a stager. Just put me. I'm just curious. Oh, Alyssa's working on one now. Great. I love it. Great. Okay. Perfect. Stagers have a particular advantage, and this is one of the reason why I really launched this, because my core course is a 3-week how to start your staging and design business, and then this is a 3-day course. But basically, a lot of my stagers, they have the warehouse space and the logistics to receive product. So when you're ordering, when you're doing a full install for Airbnbs, it makes it a lot easier. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do that. I walk people through in the training how you work with a freight company. You can have everything kind of lined up and then do the install all at once. But they're just particularly, that business is particularly aligned to receive. They already have the trade shopping connections in place. Stagers, it's just an easy add-on service. The ability to fill in gaps and meet launch deadlines, because a lot of times, you've got that Airbnb set up and that coffee table didn't come in. Well, the stager can actually just pull a coffee table from their inventory and use it for the launch and then always replace it. But more so as a stager, it's really easy for you to turn over your inventory, which is always a focus for us. We always want to have that fresh inventory going so that it doesn't get dated when the trends change. I love Brian Thomas shared with me that what he does is when he stages a home that he knows is probably a prime home for investors or for Airbnbs, he actually leaves a flyer just like this that he created in Canva. where he says the furnishings in this stage home can support your business opportunity as a vacation rental. So he's kind of like easily trying to turn over his inventory. He says it works really well. Um, I love this story. This is Mitch. He's actually, I'm going to showcase some of his stuff right now. He's one of my HSR grads. He's actually speaking at the next real estate staging convention with me in July. So I'm really proud of all my people who started and are now speakers and influencers. But he shared this post saying that he actually did a complete stage job, worked with an investor, and the buyer of this home actually was an investor, and all the inventory wanted it to just be short-term rental so that he got to turn around and sell his short-term rental service. So for the stagers, it just makes sense to have that as an option because some of your buyers will have that. You make more money on each project. You can charge more. It is, like I said, that necessity. This is not a luxury item, it's a necessity. It's less about budget, it's more about investment. That investment equals increased rates. Quality furnishings saves people in the long run. A lot of your hosts or like I said, are remote. They don't want to buy, cheap furnishings that like that leg on that coffee table broke, the Amazon or Wayfair broke, and now they're going to have to go out there and replace it. They don't want to deal with that. So they understand the connection between the quality furnishings and the more use that it'll work. And it just gives you the ability to find and brand spaces. When I talked about those experiences, to have a little fun and artistic leeway in the overall design. I love Holly Jones. She's one of my grads, and she is an Airbnb designer in Branson, Missouri. And she's just her business is just has just been taking off. And what I love is that she really focuses on the brand. She sticks with, I'll show you. She created this custom sign on Etsy. So she's trying to create that, you're here, here's what's special about where you're at. Notice the sign here, Branson, Missouri, the bunk room. Of course, a lot of Airbnbs have bunk rooms. Um, how many of you love this sign? How cute is this? She basically, it's such a good idea. She took like a sign, but she made it herself and put all of the attractions. I love what she did here. She went kind of bold with the wallpaper. Again, this is about creating something memorable. But then she tied in kind of that theme throughout the home. Similar color scheme. Notice the repeat pattern in the carpet and the repeat color scheme and the bedrooms. It's beautiful. So, what are some tips for when you're designing an Airbnb? Obviously, if these photos, I'm going to show you a lot more photos. You got to think of photographable spaces. Guests want to take photos. They want to be there. They want to just have that memory. Remember, they're posting. Everything is social media right now. So, designing for the millennial use, multiple layers, surprise and delight guests with these unexpected touches, like what she did with that sign. And it really is all in the details because there is an expectation on price, right? When the guests are paying $1,000 a night versus 100, there is an expectation on furnishing, detail, what that place is going to look like. And I love this. I actually shared, if you did not go to my blog at homestagingresource.com, I shared Annika's story, and I have a lot more of her amazing photos to share in the future. But this is just, she walked into a home and the living was upstairs. Downstairs, I'm going to show you what the door looked like. There was just this basement kind of area. So you can see when you walked into the home, behind this mirrored door was that basement. So what did she do behind that mirror door in that basement area? She created a speakeasy. How cool is that? She blew out some of it. There was a little more space under there. But how cool is this? So just getting creative. Now, did this cost the host investor money? For sure. But is this a standout location in her area? Absolutely. Does she now have a wait list for designing Airbnbs? She does. So it's really cool. I'm going to share more of her stuff too. So, really, you want to spend on the important stuff. So, I say mix high, low cost furnishings for that more luxurious look. Buying high performance fabric couches, ideally slip covered so they last, they look luxe, they got to be comfortable. Sturdy furniture. told you ideally not assembled. You do not want to be assembling, and you can sell that to your clients in the sense that you don't want that coffee lake table to break and them having to replace it because assembled furniture just typically doesn't have the lifespan. So trade furniture has longevity. Go luxe on bedding, splurge on bedding and statement pieces like what she did with that mirrored wall. That's a statement, like art. Because there's a lot of areas you can save. You're going to save on pillows, decor, rugs, because those are things that you're going to be just turning over. Kitchen stocking items. I use Amazon for kitchen stocking items and give the client, I'm going to give you this tomorrow when I do the replay. I have now my inventory, my Amazon inventory. I have an inventory list where people can check things off, but I now have a link to my Amazon influencer hub where I make money on any time anyone buys. That's no one stranger to that. But I have all of those favorite items, my kitchen stocking list, my Amazon essentials list, my favorite living room furniture list. So all those things so you can make money on it too, so that they can replenish the items. Amazon's also great for bedding basics, mattress covers, um, also mattresses. I get my mattresses on Amazon as well. So I have that in the link. And yes, you could easily do that too and offer that to your clients. So how else do you get started? You got to learn your demographic market. You guys already put kind of where you serve. Is your area hot for Airbnb? Probably. So you got to understand kind of what does it look like? And I love the idea. I do this exercise in the very beginning of my training. You can do it yourself. Go on Airbnb and look up the $1,000, the most expensive Airbnb and compare it to the least and what kind of guest expectation they would have. And understand what all goes into an Airbnb. I mentioned already, there's money to be made on the product that you buy for the Airbnb, whether it's affiliate that your client can buy for you, or even trade. To mention trade furniture, where you can make those trade income streams. Here's that list that I mentioned, the vacation rental inventory checklist. I'm going to give you that. It's not in my training. It's a Canva template, so people can totally edit it. Obviously, they're going to remove my photo and whatnot and add their own Amazon affiliate links. But if you're doing, I have a lot of people that are like, I just want that list to know, what to check off. So I'll show you the PDF as an example that you can create yourself. Here is my, store. Here's the Amazon essentials. And then you can see in my store, I have the links to my favorite essential items. So you just go through it. Kitchen checklist, replenishables. This just helps keep your clients on track of all the things you're going to need to outfit an Airbnb. There's more than you realize. And then, of course, at the end of this handout that I have in my training, I have a call to action where I say, the number one mistake is not using a designer. And it's really true. Hosts should not have to do all this themselves. They should refer to a designer who really understands how to create that perfect design. Um, how to get started. Obviously, I think you guys already know you need to know your design numbers because a lot of times you're putting those materials in a design plan. So you got to make sure that coffee table is not, 2 inches more or less, shorter or taller than the couch and the chair and all of those things. So you want to have it kind of all like that. You want to be able to do kind of those quick floor plans because you want to give that presentation to the client so that they can okay the items and then you can shop and do the install. How to shop trade, buying wholesale. So you can buy wholesale on behalf of those clients. What are the best sources for quick purchasing? You want to incorporate some of those things because trade product can get very inexpensive when you're shopping for that client. And then I always recommend doing an e-design concept board for more efficient design. A lot of times, like I said, your clients are remote. They want to trust that exactly what they're getting. It's super easy to upsell and it's really ideal for client communication. I know I'm not telling my designers, stagers anything new. In my training, I do walk through all of those things, especially trade shopping, where do you get the best deals, how to create those boards and work with remote clients. I love this story about Leia because she's one of my girls that she was originally a host. I know some of you guys said you were hosts, and she got tons of requests because the one that she put up, everybody loved. So she's just, her business after she took my course has just blown up. She travels all over the country designing short-term rentals for Vegas, Tennessee, New York, Florida, and more. She provides the e-designs, and then she'll even just do the install. So she can even do the e-designs, client can shop it themselves, or she'll do the whole concierge. Here's some of her work. So you can see she's created this e-design board, just really fun. She's an admitted maximalist. And then she took this boring Airbnb bedroom and turned it into this. So talk about Instagrammable. It's kind of love. She took this boring living room and she actually repurposed a lot of the furniture, but she just gave it personality. I love what she did here when she traveled to Florida. She actually, can you guess the theme of this room near Disneyland? I don't know if you can see it, but it's adorable. Yeah, Peter Pan. So she did all of that, the little woodsy. Mitch, I told you a little bit about him, an agent who knew that he did stir design. Again, my stagers, if you're not doing this, it's good to let your agents know if they have clients that are looking for a short-term rental designer, you can do it. So the agent had one and they needed it completely furnished and styled. So this is his presentation. This is what one of his room presentations look like. And I love, and then he does these, if you don't know what this is my e-design training. Design Files is the software that people use to create these. I know a lot of people use Canva, but Design Files makes it shoppable, easier to figure out the budget. And then look at the bedroom. Now, do you think after showing the client the design board, do you think they were completely surprised and confused by this bedroom, by what it looked like? Go ahead in the chat. No. Because that's the beauty of seeing the mood board. It really does let them have that visual. The expectations are set, the communication's there. There's no surprises. Same thing, he did this bedroom, and there's the bedroom. It's beautiful. Um, One thing I love about design files, if any of you, how many of you on the chat use design files? Go ahead and just put me as a software. It's a mood board software if you don't know what it is. And great. What I love is now they've partnered with one of my favorite websites. It's On Side Door, where you can do large scale trade shopping. And what Side Door does is it'll actually deliver straight to a residence, which if you're a designer, you know that's very rare. But I like the idea of taking your board, and I'm going to show you, hopefully this works, creating the design board in design files, and then I link it to my side door collection. So the client can actually, if they needed to, like Leia, the client can shop it direct. Now, I also put other products on that board because if they didn't really like that one side table or that one chair, I created other chairs that would work a little bit better. I have other solutions too that beyond side door that for large scale trade shopping in my training. But this just gives you an example. I don't know if it's really running that well for you, but you're just giving them choices in the board. It's just a hot tip. All right. Mitch, just on that one project, made over 20,000 in profit, which I love. So he's just sharing like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good on these. So if you're a designer and stager, align your new service similar to what you already do. That's just the easiest thing to do. But understand that speed and efficiency is essential. Have an onboarding process. This is just critical for stage. I don't see enough stagers and designers do this. Have an onboarding process that breeds professionalism, expertise, and credibility. Speak to your client's benefits. Do you think that the struggles of a Airbnb vacation rental company is different than the struggles of an Airbnb host? Yes. So if you're tackling marketing an Airbnb vacation rental company, management company, I should say, property management company, you want to speak to their struggles. You know, they really want to get their clients' Airbnbs rented, and maybe they're not. So you could be that solution when that home just needs a little bit more. Um, One of the things I talk about in the training is, of course, how you process, how you package, how you price, how you market. But one of the key things is showing your client what that success path looks like. So, what is the process for tackling an Airbnb? I think it should start with a contact form on your site, right? They're going to find you on your website somehow. Ideally, fill out just a short form to get the investment guide. I'm going to show you what that looks like that has your package and pricing details. People, I think, like transparency. How many of you hate going to websites and not having pricing shown? I don't like it at all. um, Next, you schedule the call. It's a discovery call to see if it's a fit, see if this is a good client for you. After that, the in-person consultation where you can get your measurements, brainstorm best design direction, find the brand, and then you work on the design plan, presentation, show it to the client. I already showed you what some of those presentations look like. Once you get the okay, it's order and install time. And I always like to say at the end, and you should be doing this for any one of your services if you don't already, is you want to show what the outcome of this work that they put in. And the outcome is better occupancy rates, higher prices, and repeat rave guests. That's what every host wants. So here's an example of what you can create, like that form I said you should have on your website. And this you can easily do. I don't know if you guys are familiar with HoneyBook or any project management system, but you can even have something on your site to do this. Design Files even has a built-in form that you could use that's similar to this. But I like to incentivize and say, hey, to get an instant quote, get my pricing, here you go. Tell me what you want. And I'm never going to not turn down a discovery call. Then they get my design package investment guide. Now I'm showing you this. This is a Canva template again that's in my training that is a customizable investment guide where if you're going to create it yourself, you want the first page to be a bit about you and the benefits of Airbnb design. The next page to be kind of all about you and your team. The next page to be, of course, your portfolio. That is your bread and butter. So you got to showcase your good work, even if it's your own Airbnb, even if you're just starting out and you just did your own house or your own Airbnb, you got to showcase it. It's your style. And then talk about your difference. What is different about your business? Hone in on why you're special. And, in my training, one of the things that I think makes people special is they have complete package and pricing transparency. Clients can value up, they can value down. There's a service for every client and budget. And so I kind of list the design differences in that investment guide, how they shop trade, how they access hundreds of vendors, help avoid costly mistakes, how they can do a presentation. And by the way, there are, if you look it up on Google or Chat GPT or whatever, there are many, many statistical benefits why good Airbnb design affects prices and rates. So investors, Airbnb hosts, they know this. I also list that. In that investment guide, I speak to certain, what best fits you because, I've mentioned this, you have multiple target markets. You have just the onesie Airbnb host. You have the Airbnb investor who has several Airbnbs. You have the Airbnb property manager who would love to offer you as an option to their clients. So I kind of mentioned that, what best fits you? Is it a furnished Airbnb that we just need to refresh? Is it a Airbnb from scratch? Is this an Airbnb that needs design advice? And so you're kind of addressing that in your investment guide along with FAQs, which we've already tackled. But I always have call to action. So make sure you always do the same. Show of hands. How many of you think that after somebody fills out that form and they get my investment guide, how many of you think I need to sell myself in that discovery call with this kind of pre-qualifying? Anyone? I should say show of hands. No, I love it. Doneva, you're great. No, you don't. And that's the point when I talk about an onboarding process. And this is kind of what I really recommend. If you're a stager and designer, you have really for all of your services, this is kind of what I give in every one of my trainings, actually. So imagine only spending time on the phone with qualified prospects who know your process, your pricing, and are your ideal clients. How would it feel not to sell? Because I told you, I hate selling. I think you do too. Um, you can screenshot this if you want. This is one thing I give my clients in the training. This is in the discovery call. Then it's just about, okay, well, what are we dealing with? What are we talking about? Because this is your first talk with them. They've already gone through all that pre-qualifying, and then now you're asking the questions in the call. So here is where I've seen people, some of the pitfalls. I have to list them. Major pitfall is no credible and specific service process in place. You're dealing business to business. People have an expectation. How many of you have noticed if you're a designer or stager in the marketplace, people have a greater expectation on image, process, hand holding. And a lot of that is because of technology. We have to look good. I've noticed it. Professionalism really matters. Another mistake is they don't understand that this is a unique service. You don't need to treat it like a staging job, absolutely not, or a design job. So it's so unique, you can easily capitalize it on it and speak to your specific target market's needs. And a lot of people aren't doing that. Um, a lot of times I see people are not educating on product costs and connecting product costs with the benefits of quality. So we make this mistake a lot of times in design as well. And so, how many of you have worked with clients who say they want a restoration hardware look, but they really have a Walmart budget? Anyone? You could put me. I know I have a feeling someone's going to say all the time. Yeah, and a lot of it is because they just don't understand all of the inventory that goes into a single room. They just don't get it. Look at you guys. I love it. They don't get it. And so that is one of the reasons why I have a spreadsheet in my training, but I give this because I think it's important that we walk clients through kind of the good, better, best. It's called a furniture and decor budget guide. It's for vacation rentals. And it basically says, okay, here's your living room. Um, Decent, not great, is your Amazon Target, you know, you know, it's low, but we can still do it. We can work in that budget. And if you add all that stuff together, it's a lot. Good, we priced it out. That's kind of Wayfair, local furniture store. This is a Canva template, by the way, so all my members can get in there and edit it to their heart's content because I know every area is a little bit different. And then I say better is more hardy furniture. This is more of your trade furniture, Pottery Barn, CB2. And I'm just letting them know. And everybody understands that Amazon is cheaper than Pottery Barn, right? For the most part, we all get it. But we're just kind of walking them through it, educating them on that direct relationship between budget and guest expectation. Guests who have are paying a little bit more and live in a nice Pottery Barn home don't want to step into an Amazon teeny small furnishing place. So it has to connect. Um, a lot of mistakes I think designers make is they don't understand there's very little competition. You can really raise your prices on this because you're a specialist. It's a specialty service. Educating on timeline is a factor as well. I kind of walked you through that timeline where you first do the assessment, takes time to build the presentation, do some sourcing of the materials, client presentation comes, and then there is that everyone knows that 3 to really 8 week process of shipping, delivery, that sort of thing. Here's a mistake I see people make, not separately packaging or stair stepping their pricing. And this is really the secret sauce to my training. I have a framework that a lot of people don't use, but it really, really works for quickly pricing any job. And it is directly connected to the luxury level of the home. Um, Another mistake is they try and price like a designer instead of packaging like an expert. How many of you notice that more and more things are going to packages? People want packages. They want complete pricing transparency. They want to know what it's going to cost. Um, Packaging in relationship to quality of furnishing. So I already showed you that good, better, best. So my price sheet is based upon what choices they're making in that. So here's an example of my turnkey concierge full service. Now, this is not going to be your pricing. I'm just going to tell you because if you think, oh, good, she told me the pricing. It changes whether you live in Shreveport, Louisiana or Newport Beach, California, obviously, because things get more expensive from freight and that sort of thing. But I base square footage and I base it on good, better, best of the furnishings. What are they choosing? How do they want to stand out? And that is just the visual elements. That's not, and then packaging the other elements to the Airbnb from windows to kitchen to outdoor. Everything is kind of packaged a little bit separately so they completely understand what it's going to cost. Um, One of the mistakes I see designers make is they're reacting to the wrong client rather than treating this as the specialty service that it is. So we're not actively marketing it. So it's just whoever's coming our way, we're just going to be the yes people. And a lot of my stagers have said that they've done that and they've undercharged. They've charged for staging, and this is different. This is not staging, this is more design. Yes, this is recorded, and I will be giving you this recording after tomorrow to watch, but definitely staying on is ideal. Okay, hot tips for marketing. Okay, let's talk about marketing. How many of you have marketed the service already? In the chat, hit yes or no. I'm just curious. Course, I recommend marketing to those target markets I told you that give you business over and over and over again. That's the beauty of being a stager. I always say staging is the perfect business to start first before interior design because you've got realtors who just going to keep giving you business. My sister and I started our first staging business before I started the training 20 years ago. And her business and her business partner, they work with one agent practically, keeps them so busy 100% of the time. And that's the beauty of staging. Well, this is not that much different. Real s- Airbnb investors, Airbnb property managers, those are those repeat markets. Really focus on those and speak to their struggle. Create that systemized approach that gives them something of value, builds your credibility, like that budget guide. So that's one of the reasons in my training when I give that budget guide. Um, I give the rental list in Canva that all my members can totally edit. They can use that as a giveaway to help their clients. They can give it to their Airbnb property managers to give to their clients. They can do this as a giveaway to give their clients, and you can see it's call to action. Trust the designer. We know what we're doing, and or they can also just use their investment guide. So these are three big Canva templates that we give out. I just added one to the training today, where we also have an Airbnb welcome packet. It's a 34-page Canva template that is they can do the welcome packet because a lot of the hosts don't even know where to begin for the welcome packet when they walk in to the place. You guys are great. So these are things, this is marketing items that I give in the training so that they can create an automated system. So what does an automated system look like? Well, I have a lot of different avenues, but this is just one, and you may have even seen one of my Facebook ads. My members do a Facebook ad for the vacation rental design essentials. Are you a property host? You need to know what to put in your home. Room by room checklist. And that Facebook ad is can be location targeted. You're only targeting people locally, and then if they give you their email for that list, and then you have a whole email sequence. Maybe the next email you're giving them the budget guide, the next email you're walking through your portfolio, the next email you're talking about your investment guide, or your next email you're talking about statistics. I have a whole email sequence in my training that people can copy and paste and use. But basically, then when they go back to your website, you can retarget them again. So Facebook's beautiful about that. Um, and then it's measurable return on investment. That Facebook will show you for every let me ask you guys this. This is kind of the lovely thing about advertising. If I spent, let's say, $100 on advertising and I made $1,000 in sales, do you think that would be worth it to me to do? Yeah. Um, you always know that a good 20 to 30% of your overhead should be marketing budget. So, yeah, I would do that all day long. I would spend $2,000. So that's kind of the way I recommend you set it up. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Did you know there are Airbnb websites and associations that actually have those ideal targets and their contact information listed? There's a lot of Facebook groups, even that you probably have locally, with these hosts that are looking for answers. So there's definitely ways to connect and creating that automated process where you're giving them something. You're not selling yourself. You don't have to do that. You're giving them something to create credibility. You're eliminating those tire kickers because you're walking them through your onboarding process. That's that intentional marketing system that I recommend you put on. It weeds out those Walmart clients who think they want restoration hardware, and hosts will be wowed by you. So instead of selling, you're exploring in that call. Ultimately, confidence comes from knowledge. So investing in your learning and inevitably leads to more confidence. This training is the blueprint guide to give you the confidence. There's 9 modules. It's a slow build training, lots of photo examples. I have a Facebook group and obviously trainer support. It's online. I think that's important because you want to always be able to refer back to the training. We're always, like I said, adding to it. By adding that, when I say 34-page welcome guide, a lot of the pages are pages you're going to delete because I don't want everyone to look the same. So we do like similar pages that look cool. And they're really copy and paste materials, forms, Canva templates. It's designed to save you months of time. If you were to try and launch it yourself, it would save you oodles and oodles of time. And it has my marketing system, the package pricing, which is gold. I walk you through because pricing is always a confusing point for people. I promise you, you will not be. Um, it will be simple and you will actually love it. I had a designer just send me an email yesterday who finished a program say, "Oh my gosh, I had never even thought of the way you price that and it's golden." So it just helps and a marketing system that will just feed you leads. Okay, somebody said, um, uh, how do I create a portfolio without having any clients? Well, that's you gotta have friends. You got this is your artwork. So you do rooms in your own home, you do rooms in a friend's home, and you just start practicing. You got to showcase the way you do design. Somebody asked, is it better to take the e-design course and continue with the Airbnb? Sylvia, those two courses go really well together. I've had people, I say do the Airbnb and then you can add the e-design. For those of you who wonder about the e-design course, my e-design course walks you through how to do the packaged e-design, but it gives you 100+ templates inside your design files account. So when you normally, if you start a design files account, it's blank. Now you get my templates with all the shoppable links. So it's super easy to just make presentations. You grab one of mine, you change up some of the links, and you send it to clients. So it makes it really, really easy. I love this sweet testimonial that Jennifer sent. Um, she just said it would just save her tons of time. She's a stager who's pivoting to vacation rental design. Um, I mentioned it is 3 phases, it's 9 modules. In each module, there's a couple videos. So there's more stuff in there, like I said. Um, Somebody asked, Melinda said, do I need to take your staging course first? My staging course is a 3-week course. It is really designed to build that foundational strong point for a successful staging and design business. So a lot of people start with that course, especially if they want to do any kind of staging and design, because there's so many resources, there's so much good stuff in there, and it's really foundational. So if you're like, have had no training or certification in anything before, that's a great place to start. But like I said, I still had people take the Airbnb. Somebody said, how how do you get clients to build up the confidence? Alicia, confidence comes from structure and from looking credible. So you've seen these materials. Confidence comes from knowing what to do. So in my staging course, I have an 8 steps in each room framework where there's a real design structure to when you're tackling homes. And when you have that in place, you kind of confidence just comes because you saw just my discovery call sheets. That discovery call sheet that I showed you, I have that for every service and course that I offer, because when you know what question to ask next, you don't lose confidence, right? So structure breeds confidence and credibility. Great question. So Allison says she's been struggling to get into this market. She got her business set up. Great. Approaching investment. I walk people through that in the training, but you saw all those goodies that we have. I mentioned one example using the Facebook ad where you're just targeting local investors. And I also mentioned Facebook groups, and I also mentioned targeting Airbnb property managers. There's a lot of different ways. In my training, I have brochures already cut up for you that you can send to Airbnb property managers. I have verbiage for each one of your target markets where you're speaking to the struggle. Rachel, yes, I do have a discount when you buy all the training classes. If you start with the Airbnb one, then you can email us and we have a coupon code for our great clients in general. So definitely do. Oh, I didn't mention. So Sarah said she loved the course, saved her tons and tons of times. And that's really my philosophy, is just to never reinvent. Could you spend months making all that yourself, trying to, figure out your pricing package process? Yes. The course is really just about having it all done for you, building your confidence so you have it. I love Teresa. She has taken all my courses and she just says, I get to wake up every day thankful and grateful to do what I love to do. Um, all of the courses have made helped her grow her stir business, and she just loves it. So it's great. Any other questions? Oh, thank you, Sophie. Sophie's did the course. Thank you. Oh, Donna, thank you. You guys, if nothing else, I hope it really encourages. Victoria, Sign on up. You will love it. I have not had anyone not love this course. I mean, honestly. Oh, and here I should mention with all my courses, I have a 72-hour unheard of, no questions asked guarantee because I am a toucher feeler. I need to get in on something. No informational product just lets you say within 72 hours, not for me, and walk away and give you a refund. We do. I'm that confident you're going to love it with all my courses. I'm that confident. So you do? Oh, I love it. Okay, Chris says she'll be signing up. Yeah, you're gonna love it. I mean, all my courses always. Catherine, if you're brand new, this staging course is the perfect place to start. But if you really just want to focus on Airbnbs, then this one. So it just depends on what you love. There's so many ways we can design for people, and that's what's so exciting. Um, you guys are great. And I have private Facebook groups from my courses where you can connect. That's where I get my stories from online. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for coming live. Angela, the staging course is 12.97. It's 3 weeks. There's everything you need to start a successful foundational. Oh, thanks, you guys, for the thumbs up. Staging and redesign. Covers rentals. Michelle covers everything. I've been building and adding to this course for 20 years. There's nothing that course does not cover for staging and redesign. Covers shopping, inventory, everything. You guys are awesome. And like I said, my 72-hour, no questions asked. Uh, my STIR course covers shopping, inventory, receiving. I cover anything that you would need. If you're brand new to design and you want to launch this, I cover the 3 weeks. Now, it doesn't cover how to start a business and register it and that sort of thing. That's kind of my staging course gets into that foundational stuff. This is kind of my add on. So I don't want to have repeat information. Cheers to you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. And I hope to see you inside. If not, I hope to see you on my next live training.